infallible network of innovation.
We have heard loud in this ballpark. This is something different. Randy Johnson heads to work. He'll take on the Yankees, trying to force a Game 7 tomorrow night. The starting lineup for the Yankees brought to you by Siemens. They lead it off with Chuck Knobloch. He's a left fielder. Derek Jeter batting second at short. Bernie Williams hitting third and center. Jorge Posada does the catching. He's batting cleanup. Then it's Shane Spencer in right. Tino Martinez at first. He was not in the lineup in Game 2 against Randy Johnson, batting sixth. Alfonso Soriano, he's been a hero this postseason. Then Brocious and Andy Pettitte against Randy Johnson. He has won 3 straight this postseason.
And he came into postseason with a 2-7 record, and he has silenced his critics with 3 straight very important wins.
Silenced his critics and silenced the opposition bats as he takes on the Yankees. This is the defense that will work behind him. Gonzalez, Danny Batista in center as Finley sits. Reggie Sanders in right. With Matt Williams, Tony Womack, Jay Bell, his first start of the World Series at second base, with Greg Colbrin, his first start of this World Series at first. Damian Miller back behind the plate. And here's the scouting report on Randy Johnson.
You may remember this from Game 1. I'm sure the Yankees will. Remarkable control for being 6'10". That sweeping slider, it doesn't have the fine eye in it. And at 6'10", he seems to release the ball right in front of the hitters' faces.
This broadcast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television, as Chuck Knobloch stands in with Jeter and Williams to follow. We welcome you to the first pitch of Game 6. Popped up. In comes Gonzalez. 1 pitch, 1 out. Well, if Randy Johnson made a concerted effort during Game 2 to slow himself down between pitches, between batters, he's going to have to step up those efforts even more here in Game 6. You know, he's fighting himself from just getting the ball right back and bringing it back to the plate with all the anticipation that I'm sure he has poured into this start. A 3-hit shutout in Game 2, a 4-0 win over Andy Pettitte. Here's Derek Jeter. Strike 1. See that reaction from Jeter, a smile and a brief laugh like, I'm supposed to hit that? With 1 out, nobody on. 1-1.
You could see Derek Jeter being pitched inside once again. The Diamondbacks, as have most teams in postseason, are wearing Derek Jeter out inside. Back in there.
To third and foul, strike 2.
Randy Johnson has the back foot slider, the backdoor slider, and the backup slider. That was the back to the bench slider. That ball came out of nowhere. Look how far outside it starts, sweeping in to get Jeter.
Randy Johnson saying before this start, I'm not going to say anything. It's going to be bulletin board material. Not anything to upset the Yankees, but I believe in my abilities to win Game 6 and force a Game 7. Knobloch and Jeter are believers right now as Bernie Williams takes ball 1 inside, and I mean, he has brought electric stuff to the plate. 6'10", 235-pound, 38-year-old. 412 strikeouts overall this season.
My goodness.
That includes the postseason, obviously, and that's the most all time. Over, but just low. It's 2-0.
You could see Johnson, after delivering that pitch, that hesitation and a glare into Dana DeMuth, the home plate umpire.
Williams, a career .294 hitter against Randy Johnson, pops it up as he was jammed. Colbrin, a long run down the line. Good play to end the inning. It was a foul ball when it came down, and Randy Johnson starts it 1-2-3. Over the shoulder grab from Greg Colbrin, making his first World Series start. Bottom of the first. No score. Andy Pettitte is on the mound tonight for the New York Yankees. The Yankees 17-6 when he starts a postseason game. The starting lineup for the Arizona Diamondbacks brought to you by Siemens. Tony Womack leads it off at short. Danny Batista batting second. Luis Gonzalez hitting third. Then it's Greg Colbrin cleaning up. Matt Williams, Reggie Sanders, Jay Bell making his first start. Damian Miller, the catcher, and Randy Johnson, who was 8 out of 80 at the plate during the regular season. 0 for 3 in Game 2 against Pettitte. Batting ninth, and here is Andy Pettitte, his numbers in the postseason.
Randy Johnson tries to get hitters out by striking them out and fly balls. Andy Pettitte, on the other hand, will strike out hitters occasionally, but he tries to get the ground ball on his terms.
Tony Womack is 3 out of 21 in this World Series. And he takes a strike from Andy Pettitte.
I don't think Womack has been trying to bunt enough. He is a very good bunter. And off a guy like Andy Pettitte, not a bad idea, says Bob Brenly.
The better side to try, though, would probably be the first base side.
That's right.
As opposed to testing Brocious, who is, in your words, the best you've ever seen at charging a bunt, getting it with a bare hand, and throwing on the run. 1 ball, 1 strike with Batista batting next. Two balls and a strike. Pettitte, a 15-game winner during the regular season. 2-2. There are times, Joe Torre has told us, where Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach for the Yankees, will go out to the mound to remind Andy Pettitte not to try and overthrow, to make these hitters hit the ball and beat it into the ground. Not in the category of a strikeout pitcher, according to Joe Torre. And Womack hits it down the right field line. It is a ground rule double to start the night for Arizona. Took a hop, got over that wall, and a good start for the Diamondbacks.
That was an odd carom that appeared to hit on the base of the fence and take a tricky hop. You can see the carom actually went to the left, and Shane Spencer, well, that was a dog leg left, was it not? Ball down and in, laced by Womack, a ground rule double.
Yeah, one of the odd angles of this outfield wall is found right there, where the ball actually took a hop, hit off where that billboard sign is, and then kicked to the left where there's a lower fence and went out of play. Spencer called it immediately, the right fielder, before Dale Scott, the right field umpire, made the call. Now it's Batista up the middle. Womack coming to the plate, and the Diamondbacks take a Game 6 first inning lead.
It was Danny Batista who drove in the first run of this World Series with a double to right center field. And now he drives in the first run of this ball game. Womack scoring easily. You can see him taking a peek. He realizes the ball got by Jeter. You can walk home from there.
Still nobody out. And Batista almost got stuck trying to get back on that good pickoff move of Andy Pettitte. Luis Gonzalez, now the number 3 hitter, 4 out of 18 in the World Series overall, hitting .232 in the postseason. Nearly caught Gonzalez on the right side of his body. Ball one. Leadoff double by Womack. Scored on the hit by Danny Batista. Two and 0.
Pettit missing with 2 curveballs. Generally speaking, a curveball to a left-handed batter by a left-handed pitcher with a runner on at first is not a good pitch. It's a slower pitch and easier to pull in the hole.
Christine Gonzalez. The triplets are at home. The 2-0. 3-0 with Greg Colburn next.
Megan, Jacob, and Elisa.
Cutting it loose on 3-0, and Pettit got a fastball by Gonzalez. 3-1.
And it was ball 4 too. What hitters try to do is lower their sights. That probably was ball 4. With the high strike zone, you never know, but it looked like ball 4 to me.
Check on Batista. We say it every time that Andy Pettit pitches, especially in the postseason. He picked off 49 runners since the start of '96. That's the most in the major leagues. So file that away as Batista takes his lead. Not a big one. 3-1 to Gonzalez. Full count.
Andy Pettit catching Joe and me in the parking lot of Yankee Stadium the other day, and we prematurely did it. We want to wish Josh, his 7-year-old, a very happy birthday. Andy's son did not come to Phoenix with him, and he is to be remembered.
3-2 pitch. Gonzalez a foul that will get out of play.
It gives you an idea of Andy Pettit's pickoff move. Talk about Randy Johnson altering a lineup. Andy Pettit alters the team's running game. Normally, you always send a runner 3 and 2. But Batista going back to the bag with a contact hitter at the plate.
Along with a 57 home runs, a .325 average this season for Luis Gonzalez. It was 3-0. Now it's 3-2. Batista stays put. Gonzalez grounds to second. Soriano will flip for one. And a tag for the other out. Well handled by the rookie Soriano. He made Batista stop long enough, got the out at first, and Tino Martinez and Jeter took care of the rest.
Superbly done by Soriano. He gets Bautista going back toward first, and the throw by Martinez to Jeter is easy. Remember the 3-0 pitch. It was ball 4. Bob Brenly giving Luis Gonzalez the green light, swinging and missing. So instead of first and second, nobody out, 2 outs, and nobody on.
And the batter is Colburn. No at-bats in this World Series in the postseason, hitting .286. Part of a very good bench during the regular season for Bob Brenly. To the shortstop, Jeter. And the first inning is over, but not before a leadoff double by Womack. And on the next pitch, after this one took a hop and got out of play, Danny Batista batting in the number 2 spot. Put the Diamondbacks on top 1-0 after 1. Well, a good start for Arizona as they immediately hand Randy Johnson a lead. It's 1-0 into the second. Jorge Posada, Shane Spencer, and Tino Martinez will bat for New York. Yankees leading 3-2. A matchup of Randy Johnson and Andy Pettit, who seem to avoid a possible big first inning with the help of Luis Gonzalez swinging at that 3-0 pitch as Posada pops it to Danny Batista in center. 1 out.
That gave you an idea. That shot from low home gave you an idea how Randy Johnson looks from the right side. You can imagine what makes him difficult from the left side. He is a menacing left-hander, but when he drops down like that, which is his normal slot, it looks like he's throwing the ball from the second base position.
So 1 out, nobody on. Here's Shane Spencer, who has 3 hits in this World Series. He has been a big help to the Yankees defensively, mainly playing left field. Again, starting in right field tonight with Knobloch back in the lineup. Into left center field. Batista caught one to his left, and now one to his right. 2 out.
Left-handed batters had 1 home run and 107 at-bats against Johnson this year. Tino Martinez did not start in game 1. But for all of you left-handed hitters out there, we're going to give you some idea about what it's like to face Randy Johnson from the left side. Not a picnic. Oh, makes you cringe. Ooh.
On the inside corner, 95 miles per hour for strike 1. Which side did you hit from?
The left side. Ugh. In my experience, I never faced anybody like Randy Johnson.
How about heat on the inside corner and a slider down and away, 0-2.
This is what he makes left-handers do. Open that front side with that slider.
Only 107 at-bats by left-handers against Randy Johnson during the regular season with a 196 average, and I'll be darned, an 0-2 base hit to center field by Tino Martinez. He hung in there just enough to get the end of the bat on it, float one to center for the Yankees' first hit.
If you didn't say I'll be darned, I was going to say I'll be darned. Looked like a slider that just stayed on the plate. And Tino Martinez hits it off the end of the bat, but a fine piece of hitting by Martinez.
I'll be darned, or were you going to say I'll be dadgum?
Or I'll be darned. I'll be dadgum. Look at that.
Here's Soriano with 1 on, 2 out. Alfonso Soriano has had 2 game-winning hits in the postseason. Won Game 4 of the ALCS back at Yankee Stadium with a home run against Sasaki. And then he won Game 5 with a base hit against Albie Lopez 2 nights ago. No balls, 1 strike, 1 on, 2 out. Sixteenth pitch of the night from Randy Johnson. A little too low, 1 ball, 1 strike. We got a taste of it with Soriano and the play that he made defensively for the double play on the ball hit by Gonzalez. Schooled in the Hiroshima Carp Academy in the Dominican Republic. Learned how to play the game the right way. As he lines one caught by Jay Bell to end the inning. And Randy Johnson is through 2 scoreless. Yankees have their first hit. They strand their first. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Arizona. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Arizona. It'll be Matt Williams, Reggie Sanders, and Jay Bell. If anybody gets on, Damian Miller. 2 hits for the Diamondbacks. Produced that run. A leadoff double by Womack and an RBI hit up the middle by Batista. Last time Matt Williams faced Andy Pettitte, he hit a 7th inning 3-run home run, which made it a 4-0 game. That's how it ended with Randy Johnson on the mound, and that misses down and away for ball 1. Outside of that home run, Williams has not done much in this World Series. 3 out of 17. 4 out of 18. And he's on to start the second.
All hitting instructors will tell you, as you look at Michelle Williams, Matt's wife, the way to get out of a slump, try to hit the ball up the middle or the other way because of that front shoulder. That front shoulder right there. Ball hit on the good part of the bat, a rocket to right field.
So Williams is on and Reggie Sanders comes to the plate. The ball down and in. You resisted the temptation to say blame it on Rio with
I did.
Michelle Williams.
Yes, I did.
That it always accompanies her name. And that great of a movie, really, was it?
17 years ago, 1984, that movie was made.
It's like having "Dude, Where's My Car" always attached to your introduction. 1 ball, no strikes, 1 on, nobody out. Pettit. And on the hands of Sanders, the count 1-1.
Back in the 60s, it was kooky, kooky, lend me your comb.
I'll have to take your word for that.
Ed Burns, 77 Sunset Strip. It was a television sitcom about a guy who parked cars.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Reggie Sanders. Sanders hits it on a line to center. Williams can't get there. Matt Williams coming around second. He'll hold at third on a double by Reggie Sanders. A single, a double, second and third, nobody out.
Boy, the Diamondbacks have come out and hit Andy Pettit hard. We talked about it in game 1. Of all the Diamondback hitters, Pettit would probably have more trouble with Reggie Sanders because Sanders is a good low ball hitter, and Pettit, to be effective, has to stay down. 2 balls hit very well to open the second inning.
So now it's Jay Bell. 0 for 1 in this World Series, only 1 out of 9 in the postseason. Making only his 3rd start of this postseason for Bob Brenly. Took Craig Counsell out of the lineup. Typical second baseman who is only 1 out of 20. Second and third, nobody out. Bell takes a ball.
Joe, it's an interesting alignment and proper for Joe Torre. He has the right side of the infield in, but Jeter and Brocious are both back on the left side. You have to protect the left side and keep the infielders back because one of Pettit's strengths is that cut fastball down and into right-handers.
Jay Bell trying to add to the Arizona lead. Good pitch on the inside corner, 1-1. Mentioned earlier that Dana DeMuth is the home plate umpire. Important to track these pitches on the corners for each left-hander. Especially Pettit on the inside part of the plate to the right-handed hitters that Bob Brenly has stacked his lineup with. To third, foul. And a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Jay Bell.
Yeah, the home plate umpire is more important for Andy Pettit than for Randy Johnson. Even though Johnson does throw to the corners, he can get away with the fastball or a slider in the middle part of the plate. Not too many pitchers can do that. Johnson, one of the few that can.
Diamondbacks have had opportunities through this World Series. They have not been able to take advantage of them. They have one here. Jay Bell grounds to Brocious. Williams holds, 1 out. So is this more of the same for the Arizona Diamondbacks? Bell could not bring home one or the other runner, and now we look at the pitch by pitch.
The intent of Andy Pettit, come inside. He misses with the fastball, hits with the cutter, another cutter, and on the hands of Jay Bell. Brocious, a quick look. Easy play.
And with first base open and Randy Johnson on deck, The easy decision for Joe Torre to walk Damian Miller, load the bases, and watch Andy Pettitte face Randy Johnson. A single, a double, but a ground out. And now Damian Miller, who's 2 out of 13 in this World Series, will on the next pitch take the walk down to first.
Bob Brenly telling us before the game that his intention tonight was to use his right-handers. There are only 2 left-handed hitters in the lineup, Tony Womack and Luis Gonzalez. And then when he gets the lead in the 6th, 7th inning, if he gets the lead, then he will go to his defense.
Trying to add to a 1-run lead is Randy Johnson, who had 2 RBIs during the regular season. Was 8 out of 80. As part of that defense, it's on the bench, Mark Grace. Matt Williams, Reggie Sanders, and Damian Miller.
Right side of the infield, Tino Martinez, Alfonso Soriano, both of them moving Bernie Williams in. As you can see, Shane Spencer in right field. So the outfield very, very shallow for Johnson.
Bases loaded, 1 out. Broken back. They throw home. They got 1, and that's it.
Posada almost came off the base. A very poor throw by Scott Brocious. Had that ball been about chest high, easy double play, first base side. Posada on the base, and a fine play by Posada. But Scott Brocious, in his anxiety, makes a bad throw on the short hop. Nice play by Posada. In no position to throw out Randy Johnson.
So now the inning continues, and it's Tony Womack who doubled and scored his first time up. Bases loaded, 2 out. And ball 1. Womack 4 out of 22 at the plate. It's 2-0.
If you're Womack, you may take 2.
A strike is called even though Posada couldn't hang on to it. 3-1.
And I get your drift. Bob Brenly yelling at Dana DeMuth. Normally when a catcher drops a ball, even though the ball may have been in the strike zone, he won't get the strike call.
Three balls and a strike. He did take 2, and it's a full count. The runners will go. Sanders at third, Miller at second, and Johnson at first.
That's good strategy by Womack. Make Andy Pettitte throw 3 strikes in a row.
Three-two pitch. Just spoiled it. Tony Womack during the regular season drove home 30 runs out of this leadoff spot, and Andy Pettitte wants Posada to come out and talk. Tony Womack, who lost his father this year, on Father's Day, June 17th, hit a game-winning grand slam. An emotional moment. And now here he is in the World Series Game 6 with the bases loaded, 2 out, awaiting a 3-2 pitch. Into center field. Womack, another hit. 2 more runs, and it's 3-0 Arizona.
Tony Womack's father dying on April 22nd at Grand Slam and 2 doubles on Father's Day, and Thomas must be very proud again.
So a 3-0 second inning lead, and the inning continues for Danny Batista, who takes a strike. Look up to the heavens after delivering here in the second inning for Arizona. Runners on at first and second with 2 out and 0-1 pitch. 1-1.
In fairness, the Yankees should be out of the inning with the base. Scott Broshi's playing even with the bag. Randy Johnson the batter. Johnson jammed, but a poor throw by Scott. First base side. Dug out nicely by Posada, but in no position to complete the double play. Cost the Yankees at least 2 runs in this inning.
Batista strike 2.
Probably the best cut fastball Andy Pettitte has thrown in this game.
Three hits and a walk in the inning. 2 runs on the board, a 3-0 Diamondback lead. Batista 3 out of 4 in this World Series against Pettitte with 2 RBI. Stays up there.
Looking out at Randy Johnson at second base. If you're Chris Spire, the third base coach, you have a 3-run lead. You don't want Johnson running hard. You don't want to play at the plate. For the most part, I think it'll take a double to score Randy Johnson. Any kind of hard hit ball to the outfield, while you want the run, you don't want Johnson involved in any kind of collision.
A 25-pitch inning for Andy Pettitte. And it continues. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Diamondbacks coming into this game had been 6 out of 29 with runners in scoring position. They're 2 out of 4 here tonight. An RBI single by Batista in the first, and a 2-out, 2-run single by Womack here in the second. Two-two pitch. And Batista having a battle with Andy Pettitte. Two on, 2 out, and a 2-2 pitch. Another hit. Randy Johnson. All 6-10 of them coming to the plate. 4-0 Arizona.
Bautista again finds the seam in the outfield. So it's not a double, but it does allow Randy Johnson to score. Watch him reach. Spanks it to left center. Johnson missed home plate the first time, and then Randy went back to touch it. Whoops. Whoops. There.
How could somebody with a foot that big miss home plate?
Whoops. No, I mean, Randy doesn't run the bases that often. He's interested in throwing balls over home plate, not stepping on it.
Well, this series, the Diamondbacks have outscored the Yankees here at Bank One Ballpark 17-1 now. A 9-1 victory, a 4-0 win, and a 4-0 lead here in Game 6. Now it's first and third with 2 out after a visit by Mel Stottlemyre. And it's Gonzalez at the plate. Fouled to the left, and it will get out of play. Well, you talked about not having Johnson run. Obviously, you have to send him. He ends up sitting on the bench. Mel Stottlemyre goes out, has a visit, buying a little time for Randy Johnson. Foul ball by Luis Gonzalez. Diamondbacks would love a long at bat before Johnson has to walk back out there.
As far as the Diamondbacks are concerned, you get another run the right way.
First and third, 2 out, and Gonzalez another foul. Reaching for that pitch. It's 0-2. Four hits and a walk in this inning now. And back-to-back 2-out RBI hits. Womack and Bautista. Now it's an 0-2 to Gonzalez. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Hitting only .211 in this World Series with 1 home run and 2 RBIs. Not only is the pitching different in this World Series home and road, but the defense has been different in this World Series home and road. We saw the Yankees make uncharacteristic mistakes in games 1 and 2 that really cost them. Here they are back in the desert, and Brocious with a big mistake. Called out on the inside corner. The inability to turn a double play by the Yankees leads to 3 runs. 2 of them driven in by Tony Womack at the tail end of a very emotional year for the Arizona shortstop. Lost his father early in the season, acknowledging Dad. The fans acknowledging him. It's now 4-0 Diamondbacks after 2. Well, Randy Johnson has a 4-run lead now as the game goes to the 3rd inning. For the Yankees, no runs on 1 hit, already 4 runs on 6 hits. Andy Pettitte, as you see the numbers for Johnson, 2 or more runs 4 times in his last 19 starts. That's on the inside corner for a strike. Should say 4 or more runs 2 times in his last 19 starts with a 4-0 lead. As he works to the bottom part of the Yankee lineup, Brocious, then Pettitte, then back to the top, Knobloch, the 0-1. 0-2 on Brocious.
That was the first splitter of the night for Randy Johnson. Andy Pettitte on deck. A lot of check swings on that split finger fastball from the big left-hander.
This crowd wants to see Johnson's 2nd strikeout of the night. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Saw that 235 average in the World Series by Brosius. He and Bernie Williams have the highest average on the Yankees, both with a 235, and yet, as we mentioned in the open, the Yankees are ahead 3 games to 2.
But trailing 4-0 here in game 6. The 1-2 pitch. Brosius tried to check his swing. He did. As they appeal to Steve Ripley in the count 2-2.
Randy Johnson throws that slider in so many ways. That was not the sweeping slider, but a tighter version of the slider.
The 2-2 is pop foul back here. Talking about some of the Yankee mistakes, you remember game 1, the error by Justice out in right, an error by Brosius at third base. In the bottom of the 2nd, not an error, but the inability to turn the double play and get out of the inning on a broken bat ground ball hit to Brosius by Randy Johnson. A throw pulling Posada down the first baseline, and he could not complete a 5-2-3 double play. The inning continued. The Diamondbacks added 3 runs. Brosius is gone. 2nd strikeout for Randy Johnson. Tomorrow, as you look at the strikeout, Fox NFL Sunday begins with America's #1 pregame show as JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff. Then the Buccaneers will take on the Packers in an NFC Central battle, or the Cowboys battle Kerry Collins and the Giants. The Eagles take on the Arizona Cardinals. Another regional action. Coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on Fox. Pettit lines a base hit into left field. He's on with 1 out here in the 3rd inning. So the 2 lefties in this lineup, Tino Martinez and Andy Pettit, have the 2 hits.
How about that shot with Scott Brosius at the plate? Luis Sojo had a bat in the dugout. Joe Torre was not going to let Andy Pettit see Sojo, because you don't want a starting pitcher to see someone with the bat in his hands. That means you'll be gone. But Brosius strikes out, and now Pettit singles on the first pitch.
So he's on at first with 1 out, and Knobloch takes a ball inside. Knobloch took the first pitch and popped it up into left. His first time up. So after the first career postseason hit for Pettit, the Yankees have 1 on, 1 out. The 1-0 pitch. 2-0.
That was Jay Witasic in the bullpen, and once Brosius struck out, Jay sat down, put his jacket on, knowing that Sojo wasn't going to be the pinch hitter. So Pettit's still in the ball game.
Now a 2-0 to Knobloch. Over but low, and it's 3-0. Knobloch will take 3-0 with a runner at first and 1 out. It's a strike.
Like Womack with the bases loaded, Yankees trailing by 4. Knobloch may take another strike.
He takes another ball, and it's 2 on with 1 out. First walk handed out by Randy Johnson, and the Yankees have 2 on in 1 inning for the first time tonight, and they have Derek Jeter coming to the plate.
Generally speaking, when you're trailing by 3, 4, 5 runs early in the ballgame, you're forced into a passive offense. For the most part, you have to play it 1 base at a time.
Especially when your lead runner is Andy Pettit.
Right.
It's Pettit at second, it's Knobloch at first, and it's Jeter at the plate. Struck out his first time. Was 0 for 4 against Johnson in game 2.
Looked like a slider. It could have been a split finger. It was difficult to tell. Johnson just started throwing that split finger fastball this year under the tutelage of Roger Craig.
That's foul out of play off to the right. It's 0-2. The Yankees are only 3 for 26 with runners in scoring position in this series, a 115 average. Jeter set up at 0-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Johnson struck out 11 in game 2. He has only 2 so far in game 6. To the shortstop, Womack. 2 out in the inning.
Randy Johnson getting in the kitchen of Derek Jeter in a different way with the breaking ball. First pitch, down and in. Second pitch, on the hands. Slider, down and in. On the hands.
So now it's first and third, 2 out. And Bernie Williams, who fouled out down the right field line his first time, stands in. Williams 4 out of 19 with only 1 RBI in this World Series. The Yankees have scored only 10 runs in over 5 games now. Ball 1 misses inside. Pettit and Jeter. Brocious led off. He struck out. Pettit got a base hit to left, a walk to Knobloch. Jeter bounced into a force out at second. The 1-0 pitch. 2 balls, no strikes.
Bernie Williams pulls up. You can see that stride by Bernie Williams. Striding way out in front. Not being compact and letting the ball come to him.
Randy Johnson on 2-0. Williams able to hold up again. 3 balls, no strikes with Posada on deck.
When you stride too far, you actually take power away from your swing. Bernie Williams right now is not striding properly into the ball.
Bernie's wife watching. If Williams can reach here, he will bring up the tying run in the 3rd inning. A hit, a walk in the inning. 3-0 pitch. 3-1. And he did not let up to throw a strike. 95 miles per hour. Colburn catching that throw to first with 2 hands, and if he had 3, he would have used a 3rd. Johnson struck out 372 during the regular season, walked only 71, and prior to the 3-1 pitch, Williams was granted time by Dana DeMuth.
Randy Johnson too concerned about Derek Jeter. When you have a 4-run lead, it's unlikely that Jeter will be running 3-1. Can't take the chance.
3-1 pitch. Full count. It took Johnson 17 pitches to get through the first 2 innings. He has thrown 21 here in the third. He'll get a visit from Greg Colbert.
Joe, normally the manager is the guy who tells the first baseman whether to play behind him. Mark Grace over there helping Bob Brennan. Grace, such a great fielder, reminding Colbert to stay behind Jeter. 3-2, 2 outs.
Especially to the off side of the field with a right-handed batter at the plate facing Johnson. Runner at first, Jeter will go. 3-2. We'll do it again. Bernie Williams 0 for 4 in this World Series facing Randy Johnson. Williams may have chased ball 4 as he went up to get that one and fouls it away. It's still full.
I think the last 2 pitches were ball 4. That baseball weighs 5 1/3 ounces, but on a ball like that, it's like trying to hit it weighing about 6 pounds.
Miguel Batista, a Game 5 starter, watching as Johnson brings home another 3-2. That is high. Williams lays off, and the tying run will come to the plate. Jorge Posada. Posada with 1 home run in this World Series. It helped Roger Clemens and the Yankees win Game 3.
During the regular season, not only this year but in past years, Posada's had more power from the left-hand side of the plate. But here in the postseason, both home runs have come from the right side.
Both have come against left-handers. Zito and Anderson. Now it's Johnson. Ball 1. Pettit with his 1-out hit made all this possible. The numbers for Posada in his career in this position. Bases loaded. With 2 out. 1 ball, 1 strike. Looks like at times here in the first couple of innings, Johnson has had a little better control with his slider than his fastball.
Some pitchers are like that. They have a little more confidence in their slider. Not curveball, but slider. For some guys, it's easier to control, and I think that's a good observation.
Bases loaded, 2 out. The 1-1.
Another slider to Posada. So Posada was up on Randy Johnson, and now he's in the hole.
Johnson slowing it down. Ready for a 1-2 pitch. Inning over. Part of the order for Arizona, the 4, 5, and 6 hitters against Andy Pettit. Joe Buck, Tim McCarver with you. It's 4-0 Diamondbacks as we play Game 6 of this 2001 World Series. We're in the bottom of the 3rd inning. A matchup of Randy Johnson and Andy Pettit. Breaking ball for a strike to Greg Colbert, making his first start of this World Series. The Diamondbacks got a run in the first, driven in by Bautista. Got 3 runs in the second. 2 knocked home by Womack, the other by Bautista. And it's Colburn at the plate, who's 0 for 1. Randy Johnson so far has struck out 3, allowed no runs on 2 hits. It's foul, and it's 1-2.
Before the World Series started, Joe, you and I were talking to Damian Miller in his lockers right next to Greg Colburn, and we couldn't help but notice that big brace that Greg Colburn has on his left leg. You can see the outline of it, mid-shin, right above the knee. Been on the DL twice this year with knee problems.
At one point this season was the 3rd baseman for the Diamondbacks, filling in for Matt Williams. Did so for 8 games. Predominantly a first baseman. Very good pinch hitter. It was 1-2. Now it's 3-2. So Bob Brenly has changed his lineup around for tonight's Game 6 against Andy Pettitte. So far that's paid off as Colburn fouls it back. You may wonder what the mood was like for the Diamondbacks after losing Game 5 on the heels of losing Game 4 in just crushing fashion at Yankee Stadium. Climbing on their charter and coming back an all-night flight to Arizona. The off day yesterday was not enjoyed by these Diamondback players. We will hear from Bob Brenly talking about his team's mood after Game 5 came to an end. Here's a 3-2. A leadoff walk. Manager Bob Brenly about how this team felt after losing Game 5.
After the ball game, there was a lot of head scratching and a lot of disbelief, almost to the point of being comical. Can you believe it happened again? But I didn't sense panic. I didn't sense like, that's it. You know, obviously this is not meant to be. I didn't sense any of that from our ball club. What I sensed more than anything else was anticipation. Let's go back home. Let's go back out Game 6 and turn this thing around.
They weren't the only ones scratching their heads. The Yankees were scratching their heads, winning 2 games like that. Unbelievable.
A visit to the mound by Tino Martinez, then Posada to buy time for Watasic to get loose for the Yankees out in their bullpen. Andy Pettitte was very happy with his stuff during Game 2. Now Mel Stottlemyre is going to come out. Andy Pettitte said, if I have that same type stuff, even though I'm matched up against Randy Johnson, I like my chances. Well, he does not have that same stuff that he brought to this mound in Game 2 on the short end of a 4-0 loss.
They have the Diamondbacks have hit an awful lot of balls hard, but again, he could have gotten out of that second inning had Brocious completed the double play. But when Randy Johnson's pitching, he not only puts a lot of pressure on the offense to hit him, but on the defense playing against him, because they know they have to keep the score very close. So normally you don't see Scott Brocious make a bad throw like that from about 85 feet away, but he did with Johnson, and that allowed the inning to continue, and they scored 3 two-out runs.
Womack a 2-run single, Bautista an RBI single. Now it's Matt Williams. His career against Pettitte, 6 out of 12. He lined a base hit to right his first time up. A leadoff walk to Colburn. And Pettitte falls behind Williams with ball 1. With all right-handed hitters left before you get to Tony Womack, the leadoff hitter for Arizona, the Yankees can't get the right-hander Watasic ready quick enough. That's a strike. 1 ball, 1 strike. The senator and the mayor talking it over. Interesting story with Mayor Giuliani. He talks to John McCain. Giuliani's travel plans. Here's a 1-1. Good swing by Williams and a foul straight back. Mayor Giuliani traveled to Phoenix today for this game 6 with families of emergency personnel lost in the World Trade Center attacks. If the Yankees lose here tonight, he will fly back to New York, start the marathon, and fly back here to Phoenix for game 7 tomorrow night. Leadoff man is on, nobody out, and a 1-2 to Williams. Posada cannot hang on to the foul tip, still 1-2. Reggie Sanders, who hit a line drive double into center field his first time up, is on deck. That's foul.
And also an indication of how many ground balls that Andy Pettitte gets to the left side of the infield. Normally when a pitcher, left or right-hander, is trying to get a double play ball, he keeps the ball away from the batter, normally, but not Andy Pettitte. We mentioned in our scouting report that Andy, the left side of the infielder, comes into play when Andy pitches because of that cut fastball to right-handers on the inside part of the plate.
Williams hits it down the left field line. It's foul.
That was 6 inches from having Andy Pettitte removed from this game, right into your living room. Maybe 8.
Williams has hit the ball hard tonight. Reggie Sanders hitting the ball hard. The right-handed hitters in the lineup for Arizona. It's a much different looking lineup for Bob Brenly tonight. Have had very good swings against this left-hander. And again, the Yankees are 17-6 when Pettitte starts a postseason game. They trail 4-0 here as Williams lines it into center. Spencer misplays it over his head. Going to third is Colburn. Into second is Williams, and it's second and third, nobody out. And another Yankee defensive misplay. And that's it for Andy Pettitte.
It will not be an error on Spencer, but it was a misplay. He came in, tried to go back, too late.
Pettitte knocked out in the third. Jay Watasic is the new pitcher for New York. He takes over after Pettitte can only record 6 outs. He goes 2+ innings. He has allowed 4 runs on 7 hits. No errors on the board, but there have been 2 big misplays behind him. One by Brocious at third, the other by Spencer moments ago in right. And with runners at second and third, nobody out, the infield creeps in for the Yankees as Reggie Sanders bats. Takes a strike. Watasic started the season with San Diego, was 5-2 with a ERA of 1.86 out of the Padres bullpen, picked up on June 23rd by New York. Base hit. Colburn scores. Williams will go to third and hold, and it's 5-0 Arizona.
Again, the Diamondbacks have hit a lot of balls hard, and a lot of balls have found the holes. High fastball. Infield in, no chance for Jeter or Brocious. Also Matt Williams, not a fast runner. No chance for him to score.
Now Now it's Jay Bell. Ball one. Bell grounded out his first time up. He is 1 out of 10 this postseason. Williams, the runner at third, with Sanders on at first. Here's a 1-0. Bell tried to hold his swing, could not. 1-1.
Jay Bell, a good high fastball hitter. He got a high fastball, but a little too much out of the zone. Jay couldn't hold up.
Bell with a base hit to left. It's 6-0.
So far, all the Diamondbacks are making a contribution. In the first 9, and we're only in the 3rd inning. The only Diamondback who has not been on base, Luis Gonzalez.
Now it's Damian Miller, who drew an intentional walk his first time. Strike one. The numbers are completed now on Andy Pettitte. 2+ innings, 6 runs, 7 hits, 2 walks, one of them intentional, 1 strikeout in his shortest postseason outing. Ball one to Miller. Pettitte's shortest outing leading up to tonight's game had been game 1 of the '96 World Series. Back at Yankee Stadium, a matchup against John Smoltz. He lasted only 2 1/3 innings. 12-1 loss to Atlanta. It's 6-0 here, Arizona, 3rd inning, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes on Damian Miller. Miller bothered by a sore calf. He's had 2 days to rest it. Didn't play in game 5 yesterday, an off day. Catching Randy Johnson, who now has a 6-run lead with which to play. 2 on, nobody out. Miller lines 1 to left. Another hit. They will hold Sanders at 3rd, and the bases are loaded. 4 consecutive hits. 3 straight singles against Jay Watasic.
Jay Watasic's breaking ball is just rolling to the plate. And the Diamondbacks are not fouling it back. Reggie Sanders on at second base, and Chris Spire, the third base coach, allowed him to round the bag before holding him up. Sanders back. Nobody out. You have to do that, even with Johnson coming up.
Infield is in. With the bases loaded, nobody out. And ball 1 from Watasic.
You know what, Joe? I don't know if this sounds right or not, but if I'm Bob Brenly, I do not let Randy Johnson swing the bat. Chance of grounding into a double play. Just take.
1 ball, 1 strike. Make a lot of sense with Womack on deck.
Yeah, you're not going to double up Tony Womack often, and he's a guy who puts the ball in play. You're not guaranteeing yourself a run. That's more or less the kind of thinking. But if he hits a ground ball to an infielder, double play for the Diamondbacks.
He did hit a ground ball to an infielder his last time up. And Brocious and Posada could not turn a 5-2-3 double play.
The other sort of weird strategy is, Randy, if you do swing, don't hit it.
Right. Just make it look good. Took it out of play. So here's Jay Witasick making only his 3rd appearance of the postseason, his first appearance of this World Series. Talk about his breaking ball rolling up to the plate. A lot of that has to do because he's just been sitting there in the bullpen.
Right, inactivity.
Outside of their big 3 at the end of the bullpen, Stanton, Mendoza, and Rivera, the others for the most part have been inactive with one exception, and that's Sterling Hitchcock, who pitched 3 innings of near perfect relief, allowing 1 hit in game 1. And he came on and had a 1-2-3 12th inning and was the winner in game 5. Here's the 1-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Johnson. A walk, a double, a pitching change, and 3 consecutive singles. Sanders, Bell, and Damian Miller. Now a 2-2 to Randy Johnson. To the right side of base hit. Sanders scores. It's 7-0.
Randy Johnson was 8 for 80 during the season. 100. 5 straight hits now off Jay Witasick.
So Witasick got the ground ball, but Randy Johnson, through a drawn-in infield, finds the hole. A lot's been made of Soriano's positioning in the extra innings of game 5. He was in where he should have been for the play at the plate. And it's Johnson who knocks one by him into right for an RBI. And now Womack, who's 2 for 2 with a run scored and 2 driven in, bats with still nobody out. And the base is loaded. Oh, 2. Thirteen of the 18 hitters tonight for Arizona have reached. 11 hits. They've been handed a couple of walks. 0-2. 1 out. First out here in the bottom of the 3rd inning. A strikeout by Witasick.
There's a saying in golf that if you're slicing it or pulling it, you finally hit one down the middle, that it was an angry swing. There are a lot of angry swings by the Diamondbacks tonight after losing games 4 and 5 the way they did.
At the end of those angry swings, there has been very good contact. And now it's Batista who has helped again. 2 for 2 with a pair of RBIs, and he grounds one up the middle. 3 for 3. 2 more runs come home. 9-0 Arizona.
Singles up the middle and 4 RBIs for Batista.
Danny Batista, who's been a good luck charm for Bob Brenly. We talked about it prior to game 2. Brenly saying whenever I put him in the lineup, he seems to do something to help. He has bounced around in his major and minor league career, finding a home here in Arizona, and tonight batting out of the number 2 spot. He's 3 for 3. Gonzalez slicing one toward the corner. That's fair. Johnson will score. Bautista on his heels coming to the plate. And this inning is continuing with a runner at third, 2 out, as Bautista was right up the back of Randy Johnson and tagged out for the second out of the inning. Gonzalez gets his first hit, and it's 10-0.
Now everybody for the Diamondbacks have been on base. Randy Johnson scores rather easily. The play in front of him. Watch Bautista. Normally, a slow runner in front of you or a pitcher, you have to look at the runner in front of you. Nice play by Posada to dive and make the tag.
Now a runner at third with 2 out for Colburn.
Posada has made some fine plays at home plate. The throw by Derek Jeter in the dirt. Nice slide by Bautista, who actually misses the plate. Watch the reach and the tag. Nope, he did not make the tag with the ball, did he?
Base hit to center by Colburn. Gonzalez tap dances across home plate, and it's 11-0.
I mean, after all, it is an 11-0 ball game. But here it is one more time. The ball must be in the glove if the tag is made with the glove. So he touches him on the left shoulder with the glove, but not the ball. So technically, Bautista was safe, but who's going to argue in this game?
Watasic. 1 on, 2 out. And Williams comes up empty. I'm Jay Watasic. I'd put up a pretty big protest. Make this inning end. This has been a nightmare inning for Watasic, for the Yankees, and exactly what the Diamondbacks needed, as you mentioned, after 3 frustrating losses in New York. The 0-1 to Williams. 1 ball, 1 strike. Matt Williams tonight, 2 out of 2. He entered 3 out of 17. All up and down the lineup. Everybody is on the board for Arizona with at least 1 hit. Williams hits it to deep right center field. Back at the wall, off the base of the wall. Colburn will come around and score. RBI double Matt Williams. 12-0 Arizona.
Through the first 2 2/3 innings, every Diamondback has at least 1 hit, including the pitcher. Every Diamondback has at least scored a run or has an RBI. Because of the hang time, Colburn with a chance to score, and he scores easily.
Now it's Sanders. Well, these guys can't wait to get up there and swing the bat. Sanders with a huge rip on strike 1. The Diamondbacks all smiles in their dugout tonight. Runner at second with 2 out. No balls, 1 strike on Reggie Sanders, who's 2 for 2. 2 guys who struggled in New York, Williams and Sanders, are a combined 5 for 5. Watasic has allowed 8 hits. Slider for a strike, and it's 1-2. Watasic has allowed the 8 hits, facing 9 batters. The other out came on the tag at the plate. And the third out comes right here. Sanders strikes out. And these fans who are packed into Bank One ballpark having a ball. Andy Pettitte knocked out in the third inning. It was a loud send-off. Pettitte's gone. Watasic came in, and the Diamondbacks did not slow down. An 8-run third inning. And after 3, with Randy Johnson going back to the hill, it's 12-0 Diamondbacks. On Roger Clemens here in Arizona as Spencer takes ball 1 low. 12-0 here in the 4th inning. And there's the pitching matchup for tomorrow night. 7:30 Eastern on Fox. A strike from Johnson. It's 1-1. Two balls and a strike. The story and the mini soap opera around Curt Schilling that started prior to Game 4 and his start, and the question, should he start, should he not? Then in Game 4, should he come out after 7 or should he not? Continued with some signals that he sent back in New York during Game 5 that he felt terrible and probably wouldn't pitch in Game 7. Bob Brenly, his manager, went to the press conference yesterday and said, well, we'll start it maybe with Albie Lopez, maybe with Brian Anderson. Might go 1 pitcher every inning. That's too far inside, and a full count on Shane Spencer. And then Schilling showed up unexpectedly and said, no, I'll be ready. I feel better after the off day, after getting treatment. I'll be ready for Game 7. 3-2 pitch. Spencer hits it foul.
Schilling also more or less apologizing to Bob Brenly for having his words not completely understood after Game 4, and commiserating with his manager.
On the inside corner, 1 away. Here's what Curt Schilling had to say moments before the start of this game.
Obviously, we need to win Game 6, and if Randy can find a way to outpitch Andy and we can outscore them, I get the ball tomorrow, we're going to win the World Series. I believe that in my heart of hearts. I mean, you'd be naive to think I'd be taking the ball thinking we're going to lose, but we're going to win.
Strong words looking ahead to Game 7 in a matchup of Roger Clemens, who was so influential in his career. As Martinez hits it off the end of the bat into center. 2 out. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. With a win and a save in this series, Mariano Rivera has a shot at his 2nd World Series MVP award. Who was the first relief pitcher to be named World Series MVP? That's our Aflac trivia question here in the 4th inning. Here is Alfonso Soriano.
Curt Schilling's words misunderstood after Game 4. There were those who thought if you start Curt in Game 4, you should at least let him pitch the 8th inning. He had told Bob Brenly, don't let me hang. Those were his words. So that's why Brenly made the move to Byung-Hyun Kim to pitch the 8th and 9th innings. And of course, the Tino Martinez home run. And then the next night, the Brocious home run against Kim. That seems to be straightened out between and among Schilling, Brenly, and the media.
1 ball, 1 strike. You saw, or maybe you didn't, the internet question. And the question was, should Randy Johnson be replaced now in this game, with an idea of him being available for relief in Game 7?
In my view, no. Randy Johnson will not be available tomorrow anyway. He's thrown too many pitches to take a chance and come back tomorrow. That would be my view.
Johnson has thrown 56 pitches so far tonight. Soriano floats one into right for Reggie Sanders. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here in Phoenix. All Arizona. They lead the Yankees 12-0. Jay Witasick heads back to work, trying to eat up innings for the Yankees here in the middle part of Game 6. Bottom of the 4th, 12-0 Arizona. And it will be Jay Bell, Damian Miller, and Randy Johnson. On the outside corner for strike one. Bell is 1 for 2 with an RBI single and a run scored. An 8-run, 10-hit 3rd inning. 12-0. While the Yankees have only 2 hits. One of them belongs to Andy Pettitte. The other by the left-handed hitting Tino Martinez. Bell ahead on the count, 2-1.
Certainly a reasonable question about Randy Johnson. There's no one warming for the Diamondbacks in their bullpen. But Johnson is a starter, and a starter mentality, regardless of the importance of that, and how can it be any more important than the 7th game of the World Series? There's no way that, knowing starting pitchers, that Randy could go again tomorrow because of the warm-up pitches. Warm-up pitches and what he's done to pour into the first 4 innings tonight.
The 2-2. Bell loses his bat, and even on a strikeout, the Diamondbacks will get a base runner.
They have gotten on every other way tonight, and now the slider in the dirt eludes Posada. So a strikeout for Witasick. And Jay Bell gets to first on the wild pitch.
So a strikeout, a wild pitch, runner at first, nobody out. Number 8 hitter Damian Miller will step to the plate.
So Randy Johnson has a pitcher's mentality, and Cleveland came back against Seattle when they were 12 runs down this year.
There you go.
Yeah, that's probably the explanation.
Sure. Meanwhile, Johnson did come out of the bullpen in Game 5 of the division series between the Yankees and Seattle back in 1995. That best-of-5 series that ended with Johnson as the winning pitcher, even though he allowed a run because of the 2-run hit by Edgar Martinez to send Seattle on to the ALCS.
Randy allowing that hit to Randy Velarde, a base hit to left field in the 11th inning. Edgar Martinez won it in the bottom of the 11th.
2 balls and a strike in that game. Johnson came on and struck out 6 in 3 innings. And the Mariners won on that Edgar Martinez 2-run hit in the 11th. The 2-1. Miller skies one into deep left center field. Back is Bernie Williams, off the wall. All the way around third from first is Bell. He'll score, and it's 13-0. Just below that yellow stripe out in left center field. It stayed in play, and Miller has his first RBI of the night.
Well, you could not help but feel, but for Byung-Hyun Kim in Wednesday night's game and Thursday night's game, and the same as Jay Witasick tonight. Nobody likes to take a beating. Joe Torre hates to leave him out there, but with Game 7 coming up tomorrow night, you can't wear out your bullpen. So Watasic stays.
Strike one on Randy Johnson, who reached on a force out and eventually scored, and then drove home a run with a single in the third inning and eventually scored. So he has scored twice, driven in one, has a hit, and he's behind on the count here 0-2. His hitting approach and his abilities have been getting better every year since joining the National League, and he's had some pretty good swings here tonight. Strikeout. The runner reached on a wild pitch. That was Bell, who scored on the RBI double by Miller. Johnson strikes out for the first out here in the bottom of the fourth. Second strikeout of the inning, first out. Our Aflac 1 ERA. The first year of this run by the Yankees, John Wetland was the World Series MVP in '96. Here's Tony Womack. And there's a ball outside.
We talked about it in game one. The Yankees in the ALCS and the World Series have had 9 different MVPs in 9 different World Series and ALCSs. Talk about spreading it around. 7 of those players still with the Yankees. Talking about a breaking ball right there, Roger Clemens is with El Duque.
2 guys who will probably be available for the Yankees tomorrow night. Clemens is scheduled to start, and you would have to believe that Hernandez, if needed out of the bullpen, would be there. Clemens giving a pitching clinic to El Duque and showing him how he throws his forkball. The 1-2, Womack, 2-2.
El Duque has dabbled with that this year, much like Randy Johnson has dabbled with it this year. When pitchers see how effective it is, and why not? And not on the side, not the thumb on the side, but underneath it. You control it better. That's a 2-seam fastball hold. That pitch is usually shown when a pitcher needs a ground ball.
Womack floats one into left. Another hit for Tony Womack. To third is Miller. First and third, 1 out. Womack's 3 out of 4. Joe Torre will walk to the mound and relieve Jay Watasic as Randy Choate will come in. Watasic is gone here in game 6. 13-0 Arizona. Out in the wild, wild west, and it has been a wild night. Good for the Diamondbacks and ugly for the Yankees. Not only ineffective pitching, the defense has let the Yankees down, and now Randy Choate becomes the 3rd pitcher of the night for New York.
Joe Torre will try to get as much as he can out of his bullpen, obviously without going to Stanton unless he's in for an inning just to loosen up. But Mendoza and Rivera are 2 guys you will not see in this game.
Here's Batista, who's batting for the 27th time tonight. This guy, every time you look up, Batista's at the plate with a chance to drive home runs.
There's always a line drive at the end of his bat.
He has 3 consecutive singles up the middle. Now he hits one hard. Soriano can't make a play. The ugliness continues for the Yankees. It's 14-0. And Batista has knocked in another run. A 5 RBI night for Danny Batista.
You folks decide, is this bad or ugly? Not good for the Yankees.
It's an E4. It's an RBI. 5 RBIs for Batista. It's the first error on the board, but there have been a couple of big misplays by the Yankees, and the Diamondbacks have taken full advantage. Now it's Gonzalez. Left side, and that will get out of play. Strike one. Gonzalez batted twice in the 3rd inning. They're going 0 for 2 in his first 2 at bats. 2 for 2 in that 3rd inning with a single, a double, 2 RBIs, and a run scored. Gonzalez had as many RBIs in the 3rd inning as he did in the first 5 games of this World Series. That's fair past 3rd down the left field line. Womack will score easily. Bautista goes to 3rd. 15-0 Arizona. Gonzalez 3 for his last 3. Now David DeLucci will make his first appearance of the series and go and run for Gonzalez. Stay in the game, play the outfield. Who would have thought, after 3 losses, the way the Diamondbacks suffered them in New York, that Bob Brenly would be pulling players out of his lineup because of the lopsided score, getting DeLucci an appearance in the World Series and saving Gonzalez for tomorrow night. 1st and 3rd, 1 out, and a breaking ball in for a strike to Greg Colburn.
Talked about El Duque and Roger Clemens. Perhaps Orlando Hernandez backing up Clemens tomorrow night. For the Diamondbacks, backing up Schilling. I would imagine the first name Bob Brenly comes out with is Brian Anderson, who started and pitched very well in Game 3, even though the Diamondbacks lost 2-1.
I still think the Randy Johnson question is interesting to talk about.
Oh, sure it is.
2 balls and a strike. If Johnson can limit this outing here tonight to around the 70 pitch mark, and considering that the Diamondbacks have had no luck with their closer Byung-Hun Kim, because the Yankees are so left-handed with a lot of their big bats, they have switch hitters mixed in there as well. Here's a 2-1. Colburn pops it up. You still think there's no thought in the Diamondback dugout of limiting the pitches and having Johnson available to close a game with the right players coming up for the Yankees?
Obviously, this game is out of reach, but I do not think that Bob Brenly will do that. Number one, he's going to get him the W and the win. And when he pitched in 1995, he didn't come in relief the day after he started.
Here's Matt Williams, 1st and 3rd, 2 out. Ball 1 inside.
Whether you agree or disagree with that philosophy about getting the W and giving that to a starting pitcher, keep in mind that Randy Johnson was 2-7 coming into the postseason before this year, and he was sick and tired of it. And after winning tonight, he's going to be 4-1 in this postseason with 4 straight wins.
You wouldn't expect him, though, to go much past 5 innings.
No, that's true.
With a 15-0 game, a chance for more as Williams takes an odd swing, grounds it to Brocious. Wow. What a play by Scott Brocious, who took it in with a bare hand and got the out at first. This game will go to the 5th. It's Game 6 before a Game 7 tomorrow night. Back after this from your local Fox station. It's 15-0. David DeLucci takes over. He's in left field, takes over for Gonzalez, and Randy Johnson will go back to work. It'll be Brocious, then the pitcher Choate, and then Knobloch. 15-0 Arizona, 5th inning of Game 6. The 0-1. 60 pitches on the night for Randy Johnson.
And to talk a little more about Johnson, about Bob Brenly perhaps entertaining the thought of taking him out maybe after 5, bringing him back tomorrow. The reason I would be surprised if he does is superstar pitchers, more than any other pitchers, starters or certainly relievers, are on such a program, such a rigid program. They know when their arms get sore the next day. They've warmed up on a particular night. That's why I think it would be unlikely for Johnson. I mean, certainly it's a possibility, but it would be, in my view, unlikely for Randy to come back tomorrow night.
Here's the other side of it. If you know he can't, then there's no reason to take him out after the 5th, because you can save the rest of your bullpen.
Unless you're giving the rest of your bullpen work with an eye toward tomorrow. A guy like Bobby Witt, who hasn't pitched in the World Series.
But if you go to Witt, as Brocious pops it up and he's ineffective, and the Yankees climb back in a little, now you have to go deeper into your bullpen.
That's true.
Now you're bringing some of the other guys out of your bullpen that might help you in a Game 7. Then I think you run into trouble that way. So in my mind, if Bob Brenly takes Randy Johnson out after getting 5 innings under his belt here tonight, making him eligible for the victory, if he takes him out, then to me, I think he's at least leaving open the possibility, and maybe Johnson will say no, forget it, when he comes to the park tomorrow, but he is at least leaving open the possibility of him being available in relief tomorrow night. Otherwise, there's no reason to take him out.
Unless you want to give work to certain guys in the bullpen.
Later. 1 out in the 5th inning, 1 ball, 1 strike on Randy Choate.
So you leave him in, for instance, about 7 innings to where the mop-up work could be done. And I'm not saying that in any only in practical, realistic terms from Bob Brenly's standpoint. It could be done by guys whom he wants to get in a game.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. Guys like Witt or Brohan. Tomorrow on America's favorite pregame show with JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris, Troy Aikman sits down with Emmett Smith as the Cowboys prepare to take on the Giants, and Howie takes a look at life on the offensive and defensive lines, plus Jimmy and Jillian tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, only on Fox. So here is Knobloch with a pinch hitter, Enrique Wilson, waiting on deck. That's strike 1 on Knobloch, who was fly to left and walked. Johnson has struck out 5. He's walked 2. And he deals with Knobloch, who is now 1 out of 15 in this World Series. The 1 hit, however, started the 12th inning 2 nights ago, and Knobloch came around to score the winning run on the hit by Soriano. To the shortstop. Womack gets the high hop, completes the play, and we go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Another 1-2-3 frame for Randy Johnson. It will be Sanders, Bell, Miller coming up for Arizona. They lead by 15. Behind the plate. At the plate is Reggie Sanders. Facing Randy Choate, who hits the outside part with a strike. I think the answer to the question that we've been knocking around here for the last inning, for lack of something better to talk about, is answered. in the Arizona bullpen as Sanders lines a base hit into right. The hits, you know the rest. In that Arizona bullpen, nobody is warming up. And as we just talked about, if you know that Randy Johnson is going to be unavailable tomorrow night in a Game 7, then there's no reason to take him out right now. If that is a possibility, then in a 15-0 game, as Johnson's pitched 5 innings, then you obviously take him out.
Following Randy into the dugout, Bob Brenly did not say anything to Johnson.
Jay Bell flies to center for Bernie Williams. 1 on, 1 out.
So he pitches until he wants to come out.
That'll bring in Damian Miller, who's had a perfect night at the plate, an intentional walk, a single, an RBI double. He scored 3 runs. Sat out Game 5, pulled calf muscle in his right leg, and then after the off day yesterday, he's ready to go. On the outside corner, strike 1 from Choate. Pettit went 2+ innings, 6 runs on 7 hits. Watasic an inning and a third, 7 runs on 10 hits. 0-2 on Miller. Watasic struck out 4, walked nobody, and now it's Randy Choate. Andy Pettit is just like the rest of us, a spectator watching after he could not get an out in the 3rd inning.
Shot of Paul O'Neill in the dugout talking to Pettit. Pettit could be a guy who could come in to pitch to a left-hander tomorrow night. But Paul O'Neill playing probably his last game at Yankee Stadium on Thursday. Will be the right fielder starting for Joe Torre tomorrow.
The 0-2. Miller checks his swing on ball 1. You know, the funny thing is that with all these runs piled up by Arizona and with the lineup that the New York Yankees threw out there, really the lineup for each side tomorrow night will be completely different.
Yeah, right.
And that includes Arizona, that has put together 15 runs on 19 hits. Expect to see Finley in there. Expect to see Counsell, Grace, maybe Durazo. As Miller fouls it out of play, it's still 1-2. So this group with Batista batting second, he's driven in 5 runs. Colburn batting cleanup. He's walked, driven in a run, scored twice. Jay Bell has driven in a run, scored twice. Those 3 likely won't be in there tomorrow night for Arizona. A 1-2 to Miller. Still 1-2.
Reason that Danny Batista would not be in there is because Reggie Sanders is having such a good night. If Reggie's struggling at the plate, if Batista has such a good night as he's having offensively, then you might think about moving him into the lineup tomorrow night.
Because the other option is Finley, who will play center, and Finley will be coming off the only 3-hit game of this World Series leading into tonight. Tonight you can wipe away all of the offensive trouble for Arizona. Finley in Game 5 homered, singled twice, reached base 4 times. A ball and 2 strikes on Damian Miller.
Talk about something we talked about earlier about Bob Brenly in this lineup tonight. He said that he was going to start the right-handed hitting lineup and then with the lead go to defense in the middle innings. I don't think we're going to see that, huh, Bob?
Play the prevent. With a 15-0 lead.
The real prevent.
One ball, 2 strikes on Miller. 2 out. Time now.
The part that says
Randy Johnson hits it into right. Spencer staggering around in right all night corrals that, and Johnson is trying to reach base for the third time tonight. Randy Choate has pitched a scoreless half inning. 15-0 after 5 in Game 6. Teams in this city, and they will be pulling tomorrow night for the Arizona Diamondbacks in their 4th year of existence to bring home the first championship as Enrique Wilson goes after the first pitch and pops it to Colburn, 1 out.
Now the Diamondbacks flying here after that cruel loss, that bitter defeat on Thursday night / morning, arriving about 5:30 Friday morning. And fortunately for them, they didn't have to go back out there and play the Yankees the next day. They did have a day off, so that eased the burden of those 2 horrible losses somewhat. Try to gather yourself. Boy, have they ever gathered themselves.
Whew. 95 miles per hour from Randy Johnson. And misses for ball 1. No runs on 2 hits for the Yankees as they bat here in the 6th inning. Give me another whew, with the way Johnson's pitching.
He is just blowing. Man.
1 ball, 1 strike. Bill Bidwell, the owner of the football Cardinals, brought them from St. Louis to the desert. Mentioned back in 1988. He's a Diamondbacks fan. They're in a battle trying to get a new stadium for the Cardinals in this city. Meanwhile, Jerry Colangelo also owns the Suns. Has a little different look on his face than when we last saw him at the end of Game 5 in New York. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Williams. The base is empty, 1 out. 2-2. The Diamondbacks coming here for their first season in 1998. They won the Western Division the next year, lost to the Mets in the division series. Finished 3rd in the year 2000 and won the West this year. Quickest expansion team to get to the World Series. Only the 3rd hit of the night for the Yankees. It belongs to Bernie Williams. 1 on, 1 out. Go back to March 31st of 1998. The roof opening for the first time. The first home game against Colorado. First pitch from Andy Bennis, no longer here. First hit, Travis Lee, no longer here. He also hit the first home run. He's now with Philadelphia as part of the package that the Diamondbacks put together to land Curt Schilling at the trading deadline last year. But remarkable success as they play in only their 4th year of existence. Here's Todd Green, his first at bat, and he shoots one to the wall in left field. Williams will go first to third on the double by Todd Green. And it's 2nd and 3rd with 1 out.
Todd Green's first World Series appearance. Tell the grandchildren. First pitch off Randy Johnson. Yep, double down the line. His grandchildren, I would imagine, will be living in Augusta, where Todd makes his home. We told the story in the playoffs. Now Todd Green's father is part of the security force at Augusta. And Ben Crenshaw was so nice to his dad that Todd Green has forever been a Ben Crenshaw fan, follows Crenshaw religiously, obviously rooting hard because of how Ben treated his father.
Yeah, Todd's quote was he treated him like a person.
Nice quote.
It says it all, and Ben Crenshaw is definitely that type person, a gentleman. That's why Todd Green follows the career of Ben Crenshaw as he waits out at second. Williams over at third, 1 out, the 1-0 pitch. Line drive, base hit left field. Yankees are on the board as Williams scores 3 straight hits. Williams, Green, and now Shane Spencer, who knocks home his 2nd run of this World Series.
For the guys who are starting tomorrow night, you get well and you try to get locked in, get some confidence back after a poor offensive showing for the Yankees. I'll tell you, if you're the Diamondbacks, Joe, you can't help but think with a game like this that if you win either Wednesday or Thursday night, one game, not both of them, one of them, you're world champions.
Instead, they have to look to tomorrow night as they will hand the ball to Curt Schilling, who has been virtually unhittable this postseason. As Luis Sojo gets his first at bat. However, for the second time in this World Series, Schilling will be starting on 3 days rest.
And it will be Roger Clemens for the Yankees.
Full rest for Clemens, who needs all the rest he can get with his bad right hamstring. Went 7 strong in Game 3. A 2-1 win for the Yankees. 1 ball, 1 strike on Sojo. Let me ask you this question, Tim McCarver, as Randy Johnson pitches. If he wins here tonight, he'll be a career 6-7 postseason pitcher. But his career record will be 200 and 101. You've made the point before saying that 2 out of every 3 times that he gets a decision, he's a winner. Are we looking at a Hall of Famer, the 38-year-old Randy Johnson? Everybody always says 300 wins is a lock. Getting close gets you to the door. Here's a guy who's had a long career, but he's won only 200 games.
I think 220, 225. Don Drysdale, a member of the Hall of Fame, with 209 wins. Jim Bunning won 224.
From the hole, Womack can't make the play. Sojo drives home a run. Green comes home to score, and it's now 15-2. If you roll the tape backward and look at Randy Johnson, who came up in '88 with Montreal, was there in '88 and '89 before being traded in a big package for Mark Langston to Seattle. There's Mark Grace, who's involved in this series and a teammate of his. Those are the early days with Randy Johnson, a guy who made his name with Seattle, a Cy Young Award winner in '97. Add to the 200 wins and that great winning percentage what has been now a dominating postseason here in 2001 may give him an extra push toward Cooperstown.
Yeah, I think either 2 more mediocre seasons or 1 good season is all he needs. 220 to 230 is my view. What's remarkable about Johnson, he's pitched only 1 no-hitter. June 2nd, 1990, the first no-hitter in Seattle Mariner history. But his strikeouts are remarkable.
They gave Sojo an RBI single on that chopper to short. Now Soriano, who is 0 for 2, takes a strike. It's 1-1. Soriano hit it hard his first time up, lined out to second. Fly to right his next time up. 4 consecutive hits against Randy Johnson from Bernie Williams, Todd Green, Shane Spencer, and Luis Sojo, as Stanton starts to loosen for the Yankees in their bullpen. Strike 2 on Soriano. Gerald Williams on the left, good friends with Derek Jeter, and probably the main reason why, when he was let go by Tampa Bay, that he signed with the Yankees, not active for any series this postseason. Free agent to be. And Jeter is finished for the rest of the night after being lifted for Enrique Wilson last inning. Get that tired, banged up body a little extra rest. Soriano strikes out, 2 out. 6 strikeouts for Randy Johnson.
Four times this year he struck out 16 or more batters. He tied a major league record with 20 strikeouts in a game that the Diamondbacks won later, May 8th. It was a 1-1 ball game, and the Diamondbacks won that game 4-3. But tomorrow night, with Roger Clemens starting, here you've got back-to-back pitchers who have struck out 20 men in a game 3 times going back-to-back. Clemens did it twice The only other pitcher to do that, Kerry Wood with the Chicago Cubs.
Runners on at first and second, 2 out, 1 ball, no strikes on Brocious, who's 0 for 2 tonight and 4 out of 19 in this World Series. Randy Velarde in the on-deck circle. He would hit for Choate. 2-0 on Brocious. Here during the NLCS and now here in the World Series is Phil Mickelson. 19 career PGA Tour victories, still looking for his first major. Plays out of Greyhawk in Scottsdale. 2 on with 2 out, 2 balls, 1 strike.
2 pretty good left-handers back to back there, Phil and Randy.
The 2-1. Brocious can't lay off, and it's 2-2. Johnson has struck out 6. Full count, and the runners will go. Up to 91 pitches on the night is Randy Johnson.
And that is not a typo, folks.
15-2 Diamondbacks in the top of the 6th. Runners go. Should end the inning. Jay Bell. Brocious 0 for 3. And we go to the bottom of the 6th. The Yankees are on the board, but they trail by 13. For the Diamondbacks, it'll be the top part of the order. 15-2 Arizona. Randy Choate was left in the on-deck circle, or his spot was, so he'll go back to the hill and work to the leadoff man, Tony Womack. This is the bottom of the 6th, and Womack is standing at the plate for the 5th time. Big reason why the Diamondbacks jumped out to the sort of lead they did. A leadoff double in the 1st inning, scored on a hit by Batista. A 2-out, 2-run single by Womack in the 2nd. Who knows what this game would be like for Arizona without that. Followed by another RBI hit up the middle by Batista. Then an 8-run 3rd inning. A 3-run 4th inning, and the Diamondbacks were held hitless for the 1st inning of the night back in the 5th, as the count evens 1-1 on Womack. Batista's spot is next, but Finley's in the on-deck circle. 1-2 now on Womack. Then it's DeLucci.
Steve Finley will be in there for defense. It's an interesting move by Bob Brenly, probably giving Steve Finley just a look at a left-handed pitcher in case he has to hit against one tomorrow night.
A 1-2. High hop for Soho. Womack retired for the 2nd time tonight. All right. Here are some statistics for you, as there's 1 out in the bottom of the 6th inning. 15 runs allowed, the most ever by the Yankees in their World Series history. The 19 hits allowed, most by the Yankees in World Series play since 1921 Game 3. They allowed 20. There's still plenty of time. And the 15-run deficit through 5 innings, tied for the largest at any time in any World Series game. It's no longer a 15-run game, though, as the Yankees are on the board 15-2. And maybe the most important information to be taken from that graphic is how to spell forget about it. Finley with 1 out, nobody on, batting for Batista, who had a huge night. That's foul. Batista, an RBI single in the first, an RBI single in the second, a 2-run single in the third. He reached on an error and drove home a run in the fourth. Joe Torre wears a watch when he manages. Looks like a nice watch. He didn't wear one when he played, did he?
No.
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 Finley takes a strike. It's 1-2.
That could be a little tough if you're a catcher.
It's a telltale sign, though, in high school. I never was scared to face a hitter who was wearing a watch. One out, nobody on, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Finley pops it up. 2 out, and Choate has pitched rather well since taking over for Watasic, who struggled.
That's going to be my first question for Joe Torre when we have our 15-minute meeting with him tomorrow. If baseball is a game, the only game he played without a clock, why do you have a watch on?
It's a great question. He doesn't trust anybody back in the clubhouse to leave it behind.
Joe will have an answer, and it will make sense.
2 out, nobody on for DeLucci. I could see him wearing it during Game 4 when his contract was about to expire.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it's not as though you can't find out the time when you're here watching the game.
Right.
DeLucci floats one into right center field, and David DeLucci gets his first World Series hit. Joan Brenly, Bob's wife. She's not satisfied. She wants more runs for Arizona. Bob Brenly, who has come under fire for his decisions in and around games 4 and 5. And you touched on it earlier. It's worth bringing back. A lot of the criticism first had to do with starting Curt Schilling on 3 days rest, as Colbrin gets a base hit up the middle. His second hit of the night. That turned out to be the right decision, considering that he went 7 innings and was dominating.
Gave up 1 run. Right.
But then the questions after that, why did you take him out after 7? Thinking about Game 7 was Bob Brenly's answer. We had a cut from the dugout during that game where you heard Schilling pleading with Bob Brenly to let him go back out there for an inning. But Schilling had also said to his catcher Damian Miller, and he made the point to his manager Bob Brenly, look, don't leave me out there hanging, meaning I'm about at the end of my night. And Bob Brenly, with a 2-run lead, having not used his closer Kim, went to Kim, who struck out the side in the 8th, gave up the game-tying home run to Tino Martinez in the 9th. Well, if Bob Brenly was managing that night for a Game 7, he and Curt Schilling shall have. Back after this from your local Fox station. Randy Johnson back for the 7th inning. 15-2 Arizona. 21 hits tonight, a World Series record for the Diamondbacks, who came into this game hitting 196 as a team, only to be outdone on the futility side by the Yankees, hitting 177. And here are the Yankees playing their 6th game of this World Series. They have scored a total of 12 runs. That is not a very good average. And it only points to their pitching, both starting and then even more so with their closer, Mariano Rivera, and that short relief, as to how important that Yankee pitching staff is. And there is no more important Yankee, you could make the argument, at any point during this run than Mariano Rivera.
Yep.
Even in '96 when he was setting up for John Wetland.
Working 2 innings a game and not 1.
It was a 6-inning game back then.
Right.
It was Rivera for 7 and 8, and then Wetland for 9. El Duque is getting a feel for what it'll be like to sit down there tomorrow night. It's all about preparation, Tim.
Yep.
The 1-2. 2-2.
You look back on the game that Mike Messina pitched on Thursday night. The 2-0 Diamondback lead in the top of the 8th inning. Tony Womack opened the inning with a base hit, stole second, went to third on a throwing error by Posada. And Tony Womack never scored. How important was that?
Strikeout number 7 for Randy Johnson. Here's Bob Brenly after David DeLucci singled in his first at bat of this World Series.
Come on, David! Yeah! Come on, RJ. You see that? Like a big all-time leader in World Series batting average. Nice going, David. That boy. That boy, Luke.
So DeLucci, who had been sitting on the bench, gets to the plate in the bottom of the 6th inning and singles. And Bob Brenly over to, I guess you can't say give him a high five anymore. Now baseball, it's common to make a fist and bump fists.
Yeah.
As opposed to a handshake or a high five or a forearm bash. Any of that other stuff, forget it. Here is the all-time leader in World Series batting average, David DeLucci.
He's tied.
He's tied, but it was a screamer out into right center field. And now DeLucci waits out in left.
Handshakes aren't what they used to be.
No. The 1-1. Now block, a little pop up. There's David DeLucci. His fielding percentage is 1,000. Huh? 2 out. And another look at the catch that ties the record. Well, the base is empty, 2 out. The batter will be Enrique Wilson. Jessica Simpson, Mr. McCarver, will be singing God Bless America after the next out is recorded. And it's worth bringing up again, whether it's been in New York at Yankee Stadium or here in Phoenix at Bank One Ballpark or really any ballpark once play resumed after September the 11th. There have been some touching moments around baseball that I think, at least in my mind, equal the baseball moments that we've witnessed this postseason.
Absolutely.
If not surpass them. Senator McCain to his feet. Rooting for the 8th strikeout from Randy Johnson. He'll have to wait. It's 1-2. And again, the plan for Mayor Giuliani is to fly back to New York, start the marathon. We don't think he's running in it. And then come back here for Game 7 tomorrow night. Randy Johnson is through 7. Choate and now Stanton, who has done this in the postseason. One bad effort against Seattle in the ALCS. Game 3 is a big reason why that ERA is so big.
And I would imagine, as you see Bobby Witt up and throwing for the Diamondbacks, I would imagine that Mike Stanton will go an inning and prepare himself for tomorrow night. Doubtful that he'll go 2.
Big breaking ball for a strike. Reggie Sanders first up. He's had a big night. I'm going to say big again. Big breaking ball, big night, big lead, big unit. No balls, 1 strike. It's out of play, 0-2. Randy Johnson up over 100 pitches as he sits in the dugout. Bobby Witt showed you getting loose and make his first appearance of this World Series at some point, whether it's to start the 8th or not. Who knows? No balls, 2 strikes on Reggie Sanders. And a check swing. The ball got away. Sanders didn't run. And the first base umpire, Steve Ripley, said that Sanders didn't swing, so it's 1-2.
13 runs down, not that big a deal, but it looked like Reggie Sanders did go through.
I think Steve Ripley did him a favor.
Yeah. Yeah. Close.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Bell to follow, and 2-2. Schoten had a nice night, by the way, as Rivera will get the night off. 2 2/3 innings. No runs on 4 hits. The strikeout. Now it's Stanton in the 7th. 15-2 Arizona. Reggie Sanders. Hey, a base hit through the left side. He's 4 out of 5. Our game summary is brought to you tonight by Pepsi. We're in the bottom of the 7th. Most runs and most hits allowed by the Yankees in their World Series history. Played 212 games now. Randy Johnson, 7 innings, 2 runs on 6 hits with 7 strikeouts. Andy Pettitte could not record an out in the 3rd inning. Shortest outing of his postseason career. And if Arizona wins, Game 7 tomorrow night. First time since 1997. Cleveland and Florida in Florida. And Florida won that game in extra innings on a hit by Edgar Renteria that scored Craig Counsell and gave Jim Leland his first World Championship as a manager. Schilling against Clemens. Unless Curt Schilling says something else after the game. Bell pops it up. 1 on, 1 out. We hear more from Curt Schilling. This is what he said before tonight's game.
If the good Lord had set me down in February and told me to script out a baseball season, my dream season, I couldn't have scripted this. I couldn't have dreamt this. I mean, Roger Clemens against me, Game 7. After everything that's happened in my career and the influence he's been in my career, I couldn't have fathomed being at this point.
That's from Schilling, who will get the ball tomorrow night and face Roger Clemens. Strike 1 to Damian Miller. The 6th time in World Series history the two 20-game winners will meet in Game 7. The last time, Brett Saberhagen and John Tudor, Cardinals and Royals in 1985.
The Royals were down 3-1 to the Cardinals in that series. Came back to win it, and Brett Saberhagen was the most valuable player in that series.
As opposed to Don Denkinger.
Don Denkinger and that call on Jorge Orta at first base.
That happened in a Game 6.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm from St. Louis, man. That stuff dies hard.
Well, Cardinal fans still talking about that. They take that hard.
If you've ever driven by a television production truck complex during the postseason, you'll see all these trucks lined up. Inside those trucks are thousands of tapes. As Miller fouls it away. A little piece of one of those many tapes outside this ballpark holds that play in Game 6 in 1985 between Kansas City and St. Louis. We have people scrambling, diving over one another, trying to find that little piece of tape. If they find it, we will show it to you. 1 on, 1 out, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Damian Miller. Stanton trying to get around a leadoff hit by Reggie Sanders. DeRozzo's in the on-deck circle, so Johnson is finito. 2 out. Hey, we found it.
All right.
Losing 1-0. Jorge Orta. Let's see if I remember how this went. Jack Clark flips to Todd Worrell and safe. He was safe. That forced a Game 7. And Game 7 was ugly. 11-0. Kansas City behind Brett Saberhagen. And if I ever do a Kansas City St. Louis World Series, I will appear as impartial as I possibly can. As Durazo stands in, he bats for Randy Johnson. Takes a ball low. Randy Johnson ends up going 7, allowing 2 runs on 6 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Offhand, and we did not research this, but just thinking about it, the only active player in this ball game back in 1985 was Mike Morgan. I think 16 years ago.
How about Greg Swindell?
Perhaps.
How about Paul O'Neill?
With the exception of Greg Swindell.
Bobby Witt?
I don't think Bobby Witt was. I think in the late 80s, I believe.
We can find that out easily.
Oh, yeah.
Those same people that were digging for tape are now looking that up.
That's why I prefaced it with we haven't done any research on it.
Well, you'll probably have better luck looking through the Diamondbacks media guide first. Craig Swindell, 1986. You're a winner there. Curt Schilling came up in '88. You're a winner there. I like your chances. Robin Yount.
The kid. What a player. Man. Robin's nickname in Milwaukee.
Durazo fouls it away. It's still 2-2.
Robin Yount was such a good athlete. Inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. Played all those games. I think over 1,000 games at shortstop, over 1,000 games in center field. What an athlete.
Roger Clemens, 1984.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Okay.
He'll pitch tomorrow night. Durazo strikes out, and that's the end of the inning for Arizona. We go to the 8th. Paul O'Neill, 1985. 15-2, Arizona. Here in game late, and Bobby Witt, whose first full year was 1986, takes over on the mound. A record of 4-1 during the regular season. Really the only guy, Tim, to back up what you were saying in 1985 outside of Morgan that had a full year in the big leagues is tomorrow night's starter Roger Clemens back in 1985.
Roger with 20 starts in '84, 15 starts in 1985, and a Cy Young Award, the first of 5 in 1986.
First of 5 and possibly first of 6 after the voting comes in for this year.
First pitcher ever to go 20-1, and he did it at the age of 39. Not all of it, but most of it.
Well, we talked about this when he made the start in game 3. That was definitely a pressure game for Roger Clemens. He went 7 innings. He allowed 1 earned run. His team tied or behind in the series. He's made 11 starts with a record of 2-4 and an ERA of 4.12. That factors in game 3. And if we came out of game 3, Tim McCarver, talking about that being Roger Clemens' most important start as a Yankee, well, it was until tomorrow night.
It was his second most important start as a Yankee. A guy who gave Curt Schilling advice in 1991. Take care of yourself. Work hard during the offseason. and maybe, just maybe, you'll be a good big league pitcher.
To the right side, it's a foul ball. However, you know this better than I know it. The meeting lasted for an hour, and Kurt, I think, came away a little shocked at the message that he heard from Roger Clemens, because by his own admission, Clemens got into him a little bit and said, hey, got into his face and tried to straighten him up. Schilling at one point in his career had part of his hair dyed.
What's wrong with that?
Nothing. Only it was blue.
Oh.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Still 2-2.
I heard a story about a gentleman the other day. He's a middle-aged man now, and when he was a 4 or 5-year-old child, he used to talk about the World Series as a World Series. And in so many ways, that plays into baseball and our times tomorrow night. A World Series.
2 balls, 2 strikes on Bernie Williams. That's low from Bobby Witt. So here's a guy, Bobby Witt, who's been around in the big league since 1986 when he was 11-9 with Texas, pitching for the first time in the World Series. Getting that thrill thanks to a 15-2 eighth inning lead. A leadoff walk. Let's go back to game 3. Roger Clemens. 7 innings, 1 earned run. He said at one point his hamstring tightened up on him in the 4th inning. Looks pretty good right there, charging off the mound after good defensive work behind him. We got a diving catch from Shane Spencer in the 6th inning on a ball hit by Matt Williams. And he had a good play by Alfonso Soriano, the at bat prior to that. As Green grounds to 3rd. Matt Williams. Ball in the middle. 2 out.
Nicely done by Matt Williams and Jay Bell.
Bell, a long-time Major League shortstop. The Pittsburgh Pirates signing a big contract to come here to Arizona. He has been displaced by Craig Counsell, who has started this World Series 1 for 20 after being the National League Championship Series MVP. On the bench tonight against the right-handed pitching Clemens, probably in the lineup tomorrow night, but Rob Brenly will have, I think, a few more decisions to make, and the one guy that keeps popping into my mind is Danny Batista.
Yeah, that's right, but where do you play him? That's the problem. If it were a designated hitter situation, if the game was not being played in the National League ballpark tomorrow night, it would be an easy decision. I think Danny would be in the lineup after having such a terrific night tonight.
Spencer fouls it back behind the plate, and it'll get out of play. 2-1. Why do we say that about Batista? Well, along with a 2-for-3 performance in game 2 with an RBI and a run scored tonight, he drove home 5 runs in 4 different at-bats. An RBI single in the 1st, in the 2nd, 2-run single in the 3rd. He drove home a run. The ball misplayed by Soriano in the 4th. Bases empty behind Bobby Witt. 2 out and a 2-ball 1-strike pitch. Out of play, 2-2.
I remember being so impressed in 1970 when Sparky Anderson gave Pat Corrales an at-bat against Baltimore. Big Red Machine. I think he made the last out in the series, but it was just to get him in the series, and I think that's what Bob Brenly is doing with Troy Brohan tonight, and Bobby Witt.
Brohan getting loose. Witt on the mound. 2 balls, 2 strikes with 2 out. And Spencer another foul ball. Rohan getting loose. Danny Batista in game 2. And then tonight. Add to that an RBI on a ball that he hit to second base, and that's what he's done in this World Series. 2 of the hits tonight against the left-handed Andy Pettitte, but 3 RBIs against the bullpen. 2 against the right-handed throwing Watasic, and 1 against Choate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 out, nobody on. Bobby Witt trying to keep it a 15-2 game. All the guys in the Yankee lineup. Shane Spencer, although he doesn't have a lot of hits, he has 4 hits and 16 at bats. He's had some of the best swings night after night of anybody in the Yankee lineup.
Big home run against Curt Schilling in game 4.
Played well in left field. And he strikes out here to end the top of the 8th. So congratulations to Bobby Witt in the big leagues since 1986. Works a scoreless inning in game 6 of the 2001 World Series. Bottom of the 8th when we come back. Special is happening in November. Well, we were the Halloween special.
Yeah.
We being baseball coverage of the World Series back at Yankee Stadium. Here's a strike on the outside corner to Tony Womack.
I never thought that promo for 24 would be a lead-in for numbers of hits in a game, but if the Diamondbacks get 2 more, they will have 24 hits in this game.
Let me ask you this. Why is Mike Stanton on the mound for a second inning of work?
I was thinking the same thing. Perhaps Sterling Hitchcock has done a good enough job for Joe Torre that Sterling Hitchcock, who was the winner on Thursday night, maybe takes Stanton's place. I don't know.
Womack grounds to short, where Enrique Wilson took care of it. 1 out in the 8th inning. We say that obviously thinking about tomorrow night. If you're the Yankees, you know you're going to have arrested Rivera, arrested Mendoza. You'll have arrested Hitchcock, but the other big late inning reliever is Stanton, who is out there for 2 innings tonight in a lopsided, one-sided game.
It will be our first question to Joe Torre tomorrow.
Right after we ask him why he wears his watch.
Right.
One out, nobody on, and a ball low and away to Steve Finley, who's 0 for 1 since entering in the 6th. The question will be asked after the game of Bob Brentley, and probably more importantly of Randy Johnson, as to whether he would be available to work an inning of relief tomorrow night. Bob Brentley and the Diamondbacks did not take Johnson out after 5 despite a 15-0 lead, which leads you to believe the answer would be no. But you're talking about a guy, Tim, who's 38 years old, finally getting a chance in the World Series. If he has the chance to work a short inning against left-handed batters to help the Diamondbacks nail down a World Series tomorrow, if that situation presents itself, don't be surprised if he comes in the game in game 7.
I would be surprised. I would be surprised.
1 on 1 out after a walk to Finley. But you know that'll be, if not the first question to Randy Johnson and Bob Brentley, the second question. And it will be interesting to hear what they have to say after this game.
Maybe if the game goes 16 innings would be my guess right now.
One on, one out. DeLucci with that 1,000 career World Series batting average on the line, takes a ball low and away. We keep saying it will be the first Game 7 in World Series play since 1997. It will be only the third Game 7 in World Series play since 1987. 91, Minnesota and Atlanta. Minnesota won that. And then the 97 series, Florida beat Cleveland. The Yankees all-time Game 7s, 5-5 record in World Series play. The last one, 1964 against the Cardinals with Mel Stottlemyre, Joe Torre's pitching coach, on the mound for the Yankees.
And one of Joe Torre's best friends opposing Stottlemyre, Bob Gibson,
who that year pitched in games 2, 5, and 7. Popped up into center and back is Bernie Williams, 2 out. We talked about Randy Johnson in relief in 1995 in the division series. He won a game as a starter, then came in the decisive Game 5. Pitched 3 innings of relief work. The Mariners won 6, 5, and 11 innings. As we mentioned, he gave up this go-ahead RBI hit to Randy Velarde, who's back with the Yankees and involved in this series, scoring Pat Kelly. Then he struck O'Neill to end the top of the inning, and in the bottom of the inning, it was Edgar Martinez with a game-winning hit off the Yankees' Jack McDowell.
Wow.
That makes your memory work for a minute.
I had forgotten that.
1 on, 2 out, and Colbran takes a strike.
I'll tell you what I have not forgotten, and you're talking about Randy Johnson coming back tomorrow night. In 1964, the 160th Cardinal game of the season, Bob Gibson lost a complete game to Alvin Jackson and the Mets. Sunday afternoon, less than 48 hours later, he came back and pitched 4 2/3 innings against the Mets and won the game. And then started against the Yankees in Game 2 of that series with 3 days rest. He went 10 innings on Monday with 3 days rest. He went 9 innings on Thursday with 2 days rest. In 13 days, he had 4 starts and a 4 2/3 inning relief appearance.
And I know you're the last guy to get into that back when I played relationship and comparison.
Right.
But it is worth bringing up that back then there were 4-man rotations. Guys were not used to pitching with this much rest. And now you're talking about Schilling, who pitched on 3 days rest in Game 4 for the first time in his life.
Right.
And Randy Johnson, if he does come back on short rest, as you said, heck, a matter of hours worth of rest, it is so against how these athletes have been conditioned that it is a risk. But I will say this, I would be surprised if Johnson flat out said, I'm unavailable tomorrow. I would not be surprised to hear him say, in the right situation, I could pitch.
I would be.
We'll wait and find out. Colbran strikes out. We might have to not to wait much longer as we go to the 9th inning. The Yankees will bat for the final time. It's 15-2 Arizona. So now it's the 9th inning of Game 6. 3 outs away from officially declaring a Game 7 tomorrow night, and Troy Brohan makes his first appearance. He was not available in the division series or in the NLCS, not active on the roster. And here he is, a guy who hasn't pitched since the regular season, pitching in Game 6 of the World Series, albeit with a 13-run cushion. 1 ball, no strikes on Soho. Brohan. Talk about calm, cool, and collected. Just took it in like it was Randy Johnson fielding that one hopper off the bat of Luis Soho. 1 out. Largest margin of defeat in a World Series game in the Yankees history, 11 runs. Game 1 back in '96 against Atlanta. A 12-1 final. Tonight they trail by 13 runs. Soriano takes a strike. Soriano's 0 for 3. Brocious on deck. The 0-1 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. That's strike 2 on Soriano. Tomorrow night, a matchup of Curt Schilling and Roger Clemens. 7:30 in the East. It will start. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Still 1-2. Again, a matchup of 2 20-game winners. Only the 6th time in World Series history. This is the 97th World Series. I think in many ways it's fitting that it will last a full 7 games. The way the Diamondbacks have played here, the thrilling wins by the Yankees in New York, and now the Diamondbacks coming home and pounding New York tonight. Still 1-2 on Soriano.
The Diamondbacks proving to be the toughest foe that the Yankees have had since that remarkable run started back in 1996. They lost the first 2 games to the Braves, then won the next 4. They swept the Padres in 1998. Talk about lopsided scores. Look how lopsided the Yankee wins in 1960 were against the Pirates.
Soriano gets on as he hits one into right center field. And it's 1 on, 1 out.
Yankees won game 2 16-3. Shut out the Pirates 10-0 in game 3. Another shutout 12-0 in game 6. And then one of the most famous games in World Series history, Bill Mazeroski's home run off Ralph Terry in the bottom of the 9th inning to win it 10-9 with Yogi Berra playing left field.
1 on, 1 out. Brohan deals and Brocious pops it up. 2 out. And now this World Series is 1 out away from game 7. It'll be Clay Bellinger, the hitter, against Troy Brohan. Randy Johnson went 7, allowing 2 runs on 6 hits. So you know Johnson threw 104 pitches on the night.
Now you've got me thinking. Now I'm wondering whether Johnson's going to be ready tomorrow night to pitch an inning or so.
1 on, 2 out. Schilling will start it. I would imagine everyone will be on the list for Arizona, and it could be that way for the Yankees considering Pettit's start tonight as he went only 2 innings. Hernandez will be in that Yankee bullpen, you can bet. Young-Hun Kim watching from behind the fence out in the bullpen for Arizona. Blew the save in game 4, did the same in game 5. A 1-1. Well hit into left field. If it's fair, it's gone. It is foul. A foul ball, and Bellinger, who came within a matter of feet of a World Series home run, comes back to the plate, set up at 1-2.
The distance was there, not the windage.
Jeter trying to help it stay fair. And now this crowd to their feet. Just about everybody has stayed. As it's a 1-ball, 2-strike count on Bellinger.
Yeah, it's not your normal 15-2 crowd at the end of a game.
These fans will hit the streets tonight. Enjoy what just happened and look ahead to tomorrow night. And probably ask one another countless times, do you have tickets?
And do you think Randy Johnson will pitch an inning tomorrow night?
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 on, 2 out.